You know, we want to make sure we get good frontals when we, you know, when we talk to. So yeah, two that wouldn't have nothing to do with this is good. We got those things in back.
Okay, yeah.
Now,
Good afternoon, this is Dr. Salif and Professor Cross, founding father of Black Cultural Science Research Development Institute. And this afternoon we decided to have a Blackological dialogue with one another, my brother and I. And I want to take the occasion to thank our ancestors for having to bring us together in branch 2, Blackological Research Development Institute. Professor Cross, over the years, and of course you and I met in peer review Texas, and I told you that each time you left the class, I came there, and each time we got in that class, I would see your writing on the board, Blackology, Blackology. Then Professor Madanian, Dr. Madanian, who are our professor in sociology, and other students telling me, so, "Yo, Sally, you need to see this brother here. You need to see him." I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Professor Pearl. Pearl, you need to see him." Each time, don't think you have about 2 classes ahead of me, because when I get in that particular sociology class, you gone, but each time you leave, you're writing, you were right on the board. Look like you were teaching the folks, I said, but you see a professor? I said, no, he's a student.
yeah,
Now, I have to see you.
yeah. Dr. McDaniel would always let me, you know, elaborate on Blackology, and sometimes he would let me be an intern and just teach the whole class. And he'd tell me, say, "Look, Brother Cross," he'd come to me outside the class and say, "Look, I'm not going to be there today. I want you to teach the class. Just teach them about Blackology." And so, you know, that's why you would see, you know, he wasn't there that day, and I was writing Blackology on the board. Now, you know, at this stage of Blackology, primarily, you know, what I had, because it was an amoeba. You know, the stage was really an amoeba.
Yeah.
You know, very,
In many ways, embryonic.
yeah, you know, at the beginning.
Yes.
You know, of the development of Blackology.
Yes.
And so, primarily, I had a conception about Blackology, and I could elaborate on it well, because Blackology is a gift. You know, it's a gift from the ancestors and the Creator in order for us to redevelop Black African culture. So, with the conception of Blackology came elaboration for it. Now, of course, at that time of Blackology, in 1987, and now we're in the year of the European reign, 2004, and the Eurological culture is better than the word reign, because reign makes it sound like that they're a kind of dominating force, and that we really don't have any control over our destiny in one shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
But because you know, the Creator made all men equal, and you know, most cultures today live off the myth, all men are created equal.
Yeah.
Because this is true, you know, not only that a myth, but it's true that all men are created equal. Within us dwells the science of our cultures. But for the last 1,505 years, we have been under colonialism of the European, and that was either the Arab, according to Dr. John Henry Clark, in the 5th century, up until the present, and then the European came after the Arab, around about the 3rd century AD, BC, somewhere around there. But you know, I can be corrected on the Europeans' intervention. But the Europeans' intervention and the Arabs' intervention, which the Arab, based on information that you have given me, and the research of John Henry So, but now the issue was that the origin of blackology and where we met at it. You know, you seeing me write the name down. Now, the word blackology itself was materialized into its present state.
Okay.
But the definition has evolved
Yeah, yeah.
into a larger and greater and more significant definition to the struggle of Black African people because the research is ongoing.
Yes, yes. It's ongoing. This is true. Okay, then if this is the case, of course, then what motivated you to have left from Dallas to come down to Fairview University? Because there's a historic connection that you explained to me some time ago, and well, matter of fact, it will always come out into my discussion because one of your strengths, your physical strength, actually evolved from your historic background in this country, and I really, first of all, honor you for that. Then, of course, I want to know what motivated you to leave because they have various universities, high institutional learning in North Dallas, in those areas, Austin area, but you decided to leave after you graduated from Bishop. You decided to come this way. Well, I think you wanted to have gone to study area.
Okay, what led to that was I applied to several universities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, University of Dallas, University of Texas at Dallas, University of Southern, SMU, Southern Methodist University, University of Texas. Um,
Are these all HBCU?
no, these are, you know, European urological institutions
Okay.
where primarily what they have there is urological studies like sociology, psychology, and anthropology, but through the European vision of how we see things in the world.
Okay.
And so I went to those universities because I had conceived um, the thought of blackology, and I was determined to build blackology. But once going to those universities, I was, you know, I was finally told. But let me back up first. But I applied to all of them, so they told me no. That first of all, they told me no, that they didn't think I had what it takes to be a sociologist. But I was going to be a sociologist because following one of the ancestors, W.E.B. Du Bois, you know, who was real significant in the establishment of sociology in this land, who conducted the first sociological research in the diaspora of the United States. Following him, I was inspired by his writings and the things that he did to be a sociologist, to go that way. So after I was told by all of the sociological schools in Dallas Fort Worth that I could not go, that I could not be a sociologist, they didn't think I had what it takes. I was finally accepted by the University of Texas at Arlington, and they told me that I could not be in sociology, but that I could study urban affairs. So I went into urban affairs for a
No, well, I don't want to call you. Why is it that they say you cannot study sociology about urban affairs? They have certain people who supposed to be doing sociology?
Well, you know, they had told, you know, I wrote to them, and with my grade point average, they were saying that based on my grade point average, that I didn't have what it takes to be a sociologist. But that was the urological elimination process that was going on because we were also at the time we were under affirmative action codes.
Okay.
So they had a certain amount of black people that they could allow at each one of the universities. Okay. And so in order to be able to um, fill that quota to the maximum, they used whatever eliminating processes they could for individuals who wanted to go. Anybody just couldn't go. You had to be you know, 4.0, 3.0, and I was an athlete. Yes. I played football, I ran track. You know, those are the things that got me into college was my athletic ability. Although I was also a writer and I could also draw. I was an artist. I also was an actor. I, you know, I played. I played in the play Pearly Victorious. The role I played was Gitlow. So I could do various things, but they were only concerned about the one thing because with affirmative action they had a quota, and once they met the quota, then they dispersed everybody from there. So, but that's the reason why. Um, Let me go a little bit farther. I'm going to get ahead of myself. So after I was accepted into urban affairs, I went into urban affairs. I aced the courses, and so then once I was accepted, then during registration, I went and registered for sociology because I got my bachelor's in sociology.
Yes, yes.
And I got my bachelor's in sociology at Bishop College because I was inspired by W.B. Du Bois.
Yeah.
I originally started out at Bishop College as a business major.
Oh.
You see, in high school I left it out. I was also a business major. I majored in business, arts, and sports. And so, actually I was mostly talented. Of course, at the time, as youth, I didn't know and didn't understand that. But so I got into sociology, and when I got into the class I took, it was a class of the doctor or the professor, the urological scientist who told me he didn't think I could make it in sociology. And they said, yeah, I remember you. You wrote me, and I told you that I didn't think you could make it in sociology. So what you doing in here?
He asked you that?
Yeah, so I told him that hey, I believe I can make it. I want to give it a try. I didn't just be told no. So it was myself and another brother from South Africa, and the professor and some white women. And the professor was white.
Okay.
So and the brother from South Africa, they asked us to introduce ourselves, and this was week number 2.
Okay.
So we introduced ourselves, and everybody said what they were there about, and they wanted sociology, blah 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 blah. I was there. I was interested in sociology because of W.B. Du Bois, and then the brother from South Africa stood up. He said, "Yeah, I'm here because I couldn't get an education, so I could go back to South Africa to take some abs."
Damn.
Yeah, I say, man,
Wow.
that's the brother I want to be hanging out with. I want to be with that brother. I say, long as that brother,
Wow.
yeah, I'm here.
Man, and the white boy had it?
Yeah, they heard him. All right, now the third week,
You think God is still living?
he might be still living. He went back to South Africa.
Okay.
So but now the third week we came to meet class, and so and they were telling us what the curriculum was going to be about. The curriculum was about the brown cultural synergy. The brown eyes didn't like the blue eyes. The blue eyes didn't like the gray eyes. It was all urological. Everything about it was European. It was the European vision of the world. We were sitting in the class, me and the brother, and we wasn't getting a chance to say nothing because it was all about that. So now, we made it through that day. And the fourth week came, and I went back the fourth week. I said, as long as the brother's here, I can make it. And that, you have to also keep in mind that I had also went through this police academy here, and all of this here I'm dealing with too. That's a part of my makeup. And so, but I saw this brother that reminded me of, the Black Panther Party that I was being recruited for back then in Chicago. But so, the fourth week came, and I made it to class, and I might have been, a little bit 5 minutes early or something like that, because I wanted to be on time, because I wanted to meet with the brother, and and me and him talk, because we had talked briefly, and he had to run. So, the class went on. The class went on. I said, man, the brother ain't show up today. What's going on? So,
And you guys were the only two blacks.
we the only two blacks in the class. And so I said, man, what's the deal? What's up? So halfway through the class, then the instructor said, yeah, um, Mugabe Mobutu, whatever his name, I'm giving him a serious name because he's a serious brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it said he's no longer with us. He resigned. He went back to South Africa. And then I said to myself, hey, I ain't going to be in here no more.
No, you're going to leave.
I left. I dropped out. I quit. I didn't go back after that.
I don't blame you.
The next semester, I was in Prairie View. Because hey, I was not gonna be going. I was not gonna be in there with all of them white women, and I'm the only brother, and the man didn't want me there no way.
It's not safe. It was not safe.
It's not safe for me.
You took a very good strategic plan to get away from that. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the smartest moves, really.
Yeah, that's
During
what
the
got me out
period.
of
And then actually, you took me through the Ronald Reagan administration period.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan time.
Yeah, I won therapy at the time.
86.
Yeah, see. So then Professor Cross, okay, now who are the founding members of Blackology? Because when you were on the Blackology committee, speaking committee
Okay.
in Dallas, you really informed me about very strong brother,
Okay.
to have you speak on the air
Yeah,
to intellectualize the black community in Dallas.
Okay.
That was very good. That one a very good ingredient to our discussion.
Now, the founding um, um, fathers, or those who were at the conceptual stage of Blackology, uh, primarily first of all, I didn't talk a lot about it before I left.
Okay.
I talked to the children about it, and
Okay.
I was over the scout troop, the scout troop 928, and I taught them Blackology. Now, I mentioned it to them. I was mostly researching and building this thing and putting it together. I hadn't really shared it with a lot of people in Dallas before I left. No more than at the Martin Luther King Jr. Baptist Church, and those folk that knew me. So, but now once I got to Prairie View,
Yes.
now these are the people who had, that really made it grow. Amos Surley, Deluxe, Kabira Fafana, Big Sid, Xander Garnick, um, primarily, and CC.
What about Dwayne?
And Dwayne Charles.
Yeah.
All right, and Dwayne Charles. Now those were the original ones.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the picture.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the picture, but
Yeah.
CC, he wasn't there today.
Okay.
Those were the original ones that inspired and helped motivate
where was CC at the time? CC.
He probably had drove out of town. He was he was in and out of town with his truck. So
because one semester I told you to come and live with me because it was summertime. You should live in your truck on the parking lot.
Right.
And you were gone.
Right.
I told you to come and with me in Fine Island. And that was a good brother, man.
But those are actually the original ones. Even my brothers from Chicago that were at the Martin Luther King Jr. Baptist Church, Bud and Ant and Marcus, we were the founders of the Martin Luther King Baptist Church. They really didn't embrace the Blackology theory.
Wow.
I didn't really share it to them. I was in like the amoeba stage even before amoeba.
Okay.
I was playing with it, putting it together, and I only thing I wrote down was just the word.
Okay.
And I was thinking about, I was inspired by it, and I was seeking, still trying to find it. So I could be able to show them that Blackology exists. Because I came about the word Blackology when I was in high school my senior year, and I was at DuSable High School, and I took an after school.
In Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago. I took an after school Black History course in order to graduate. They told me if I was going to graduate, then I would have to take another. I needed another course. I was short a course, and there was a math course I could have took, and then there was Black History. I chose Black History. So in Black History, that's when I read the book where the brother prophesied that one day in this land there would come a science equal to sociology and psychology called Blackology. Now he spelled that BLACKOLOGY.
Yeah.
And so now that stayed with me in my subconscious till I came to the point where I was trying to get to graduate school after I graduated from Bishop,
Okay.
from Bishop, and the white folks was turning me down. So I said, I must be out of my mind
Yeah.
chasing this blackology stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no, I must be out of my mind chasing the sociology
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
There's
yeah.
got to be some blackology out there
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I said. And then from that day on, it went off. The ideal, the seed, just began to grow and grow. The ideal that had been planted. I began to seek and try to find where was, blackology at any university, wherever it was, I was going to go. So I never found it before I left the brothers and went to Prairie View. Now, once I got to Prairie View, I didn't write about blackology. I wrote the word blackology, and I would write out the definition that I had, my understanding of what it should have been at that time. So that's what you would see on the board.
So those are the times it's on the board.
Yeah, you see the word on the board. You probably didn't even see the science. You might have saw the scientific study of black people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what you probably saw. So blackology, the scientific study of black
But
people.
why you think I was conscious of that? Because I face problem with other brothers in the class when I talk about that. Okay, when I talk about blackology, I don't know why I was conscious of that. And I want to let you know that in Africa, the consciousness of blackness is not prevalent there.
Okay.
Individual Africans would prefer calling themselves a Liberian,
Okay.
a Nigerian,
Right.
a Sierra Leonean,
Right.
an Ivorian,
Right. Okay.
than to say I'm a black man.
Okay.
So it is in this country in particular that I really heard about black, and luckily I came across you now we start studying ourselves
Okay.
because the concept of black is only autonomous ethnic base for people of color, for
Yeah.
people like us.
Yeah, for black people.
For black people.
Yeah, because people of color, I began to learn.
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, I thought people of color too, because color was a term associated with black in this land.
Yes.
But in South
South
Africa,
Africa
its color is a different thing. But it still meant the same thing.
Yeah.
But because we didn't know about in this land for the majority of what color meant, and the consistency of it, color meant consistently in this land the same thing it meant in South Africa. But blacks at the bottom of that list. And here it also meant the same thing, because a person that was colored meant that you wasn't white, you see, but it also meant that you wasn't black. But, colored, they threw it in there, the blacks in there with the rest of the colors. But now that, the research of blackology has revealed that the term color is, can be mostly associated with the new movement that has occurred within the last 10 years here in Washington, D.C., and that is the biracial, multiracial group of people who no longer want to be referred to as black or white. They accept non-black and non-white, but they would rather be referred to as biracial and multiracial. Now that's the colors.
Yeah, those are colors. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Now that's even more significant. We really got ahead of ourselves, but we just discussed.
Yeah, that's
we're not
good
following.
discussion.
We're not following a particular thing, but you want to ask something.
Yeah. The reason why we diverted from our main subject was the color, i.e., the black situation, because in Africa, like I said, the African would prefer calling themselves the ethnic region they're coming from.
Okay.
Than to say that they are African, matter of fact, or to say they are black. And I have told you what I was not conscious of whiteness until I got here, because white are insignificant in where I'm from. You see them when they're teaching Christian, Catholic, and maybe they're in industry, like Omani Company, Rango, Yekipa, or the
They're not significant.
No, they are not significant.
Okay.
They are not part of the population.
Okay, all right.
Okay, if few pieces here and there, the foreign way you come, it disappear.
Right.
So it made no deal.
Right.
Okay, so those are what coming to talk about This, well, I'm very much involved in the blackology, as you know, because I think that's one of the redemption factor for black people in Africa,
Yeah.
on the continent, on the Kivu land. Okay, now, Brockross, then you graduated from Peruvian University, you matriculated to Washington, D.C.
Right.
in pursuit of blackology now. So how far are you now with the study of blackology and how University African Study Department? We got very particular and very concerned about the systematic arrangement of your study in the context of our institution, where you will be the very first funding father to have a degree from the study of the institution.
Okay, okay, all right. All right, where I am right now is, um, in terms of the degree plan of African studies, approaching, no, I am in the process of candidacy. And in the candidacy, um, I'm now at the point where I am, I just, I'm beginning to start writing chapters, and I'm also writing linguistics and terminology, and formulating blackology into a field. And in addition to that, at the point where I am in the program is, I'm studying now to be able to come to comps, okay, composition,
All right.
and then expository writing. That's where I am with that in terms of that program. But in terms of the science of blackology, the science of blackology um, is formulated into its own significant writing form. It has its own linguistics. It's an established. It has its own established difference from other, neurological studies, Black studies, and or Afrocentricity, African-centered education, and other fields that Black people have founded in this era of intellectual creativity, because we're in the era of intellectual creativity, whereas we're evolving to the point where um, we're beginning to, as a people, understand the significance of us building our own intellectual institutions by which we can employ ourselves.
It's true. It's true. Professor Cross, I'm taking out the hat so that this is very important. Okay, your reason for developing the linguistic phonetics, I mean the linguistic terminology in most of our writings, they evolve from your courses in Kiswahili, or they evolve from your high concentration on what pronounced black people pronunciation of the word in general. So from that perspective, you develop the linguistic terminology that we have written on our hats and t-shirts, because my little daughter yesterday, she could not read it, and she just read it how it is. She cannot even pronounce it, because there were different languages in there.
Yes, right.
And she thought she fell in love with it. So I wanted to tell our audience and how you came it, because this is a strange intellectual learning system, because it's a strange language.
Yes,
You
right.
have to be part of the linguistics in Black cultural science to pronounce the words.
Yes, you do. Now, the research, blackological research revealed that in order for us, for Black people to be able to develop a cultural science or Blackology, they would have to have terminologies that were significant to the struggle and the heritage of the people. And so from the research and study of Blackology, and that is Ebonics, which is that Black diaspora in this United States, which also means that there's even more room for the expansion of the linguistics the, in the Middle East, not the Middle East, you know, the entire globe to implement into Blackology terminology that would be significant to the location where Blackology comes to. In this land, we use where the research came from was Kiswahili, Ghana, Mandingo, you know, Va. Yeah, some of these still are not implemented yet, but you know, as Blackology continues to evolve, all of the language will be implemented into Blackology in its writing form. So, but primarily what you look at when you look at the word Blackology itself and how it is said is primarily the way Black people say the word black. Now, the urological scholars taught us to say BLACK, black. And when they say the word, they say black.
Yeah, they want to hear the K.
Right. Black people say black, BLAC.
Yeah.
And then put OLOGY.
Yes.
Now that's you know, Ebonical.
Yes.
All right, that word itself is Ebonical. Now the word intellectual,
yes,
is taken. That N is taken from Ghana,
yes,
Nkrumah.
Yes.
Yes. You know, recently you educated me on that the N was silent in Nkrumah,
yes,
and it was Krumah.
Yes.
Now, as we speak in Ebonics in this land, we say the N. All right, so then, you know, N is N. So, you know, so when you see the word intellectual, it's a mixture of African linguistics, Black African linguistics, to be specific. Because if you say African linguistics, you're saying a generality of the total people in Africa,
yes,
when we're not really talking about the total people, we're talking about a specific people that we are the heirs, you know, and that is our heritage. So you have to say Black African linguistics. So then, you know, you got intellectual, Ntalextuwl. Now that's a blend of, like I said, the N comes from Ghana, then the T, intellectual. It's a, you know, it's a blend of African languages in there. Okay. And then even the word science,
yes,
is, you know, the Z
yes,
in science.
Yes.
That Z is taken from the Zulu.
Yes.
And when you look at African languages, you see N's, you see Z's, yes, you see U's. Yes. Right.
Yes.
Right. In any African language, you see Z's, N's, U's, and as you say, the click.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a blend of the linguistics of Black African people internationally, but primarily from the diaspora of the U.S. and Black Africa. So that's how that was put together. Now, I took classes in Kiswahili. I've been educated in some Mandingo from Dr. Musoli. I studied in Nkrumah for Ghana, and then Julius Nyerere in the Black African, well, in African studies. The African studies um, gave me access and education to the African scholars. And then the word African scholar or Black African scholar, they gave me access to the Black African scholar. And Black African scholars spelled BLAC, capital Z, CHOLARZ, plural. All right. So now that's once again a mixture of Black African linguistics and diasporan linguistics. So that's how that all came together in the research of Blackology, researching for the past 38 years that has evolved into a significant intellectual science that is identifiable upon visual contact. When you first see it, you say, "Well, I know this is Blackology," and then when you first see it, you know that you see blackology or intellectual science, what language is that? And some people have said, what language is that?
Yeah, that's even
So now, and what the negrological scholars said when they prophesied that blackology would come, or they said that it would have to be a field of study, that the terminology and the linguistics were symbolic of the struggle of the people um, of Black African culture. Now, that's another issue now, Black African culture too. But that's how the linguistics came together, and the development from that is from Black African linguistics and its Black diaspora.
So this implies that in the near future, Black culture will have its own language, their own Black African linguistic pattern.
Absolutely.
Where people, some are expert in the area, will be teaching our people how to speak the language and do the job with the language.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is one of the area, I think.
Yes, that's
what you are putting some stuff in there. Okay, now,
yeah, I wanted to say something else. See, the other thing that Black African people have to understand is that our mother tongue, the tongue of our nativity, our father tongue, and I'm saying father tongue too, because not only did we have mothers, but we had fathers, and if we just say the mother tongue, then that takes away from the wholeness of the culture. It insinuates that somebody needs to be like the woman needs to be liberated or something. But if you liberate the woman from the culture, what you got? If you liberate the man from the culture, what you get? So, but we're talking holistically about the culture. But the ultimate thing of developing blackological linguistics is so that we can be able to eventually speak in the many different tongues of Black African language. And this encourages international language that all Black Africans can speak in and write in, that is absolutely ours. There's a controversy on the African continent right now, in South Africa, about should they continue to use the colonial language, or should they use their own, instinctive original language. And because the colonizers have been there for a time, they've made the convenience of the colonial language accessible to the people in order for them to be able to continue on with economics. Now, once you bring blackology and you educate the people on blackology, then they will be able to speak in a language that will be international, that they can understand anywhere on the continent, and it not be a Eurological, a vision or creation, and then that can gain throughout the world for Black African people a connection to that language. So then, if they want to speak in Ghanaian, if they want to speak in Nigerian, if they want to speak in Hausa, if they want to speak in Ba, certain words we say, we can spell them in ways that Black African linguistics can come in and encourage the people to speak it, to redevelop and bring that, linguistics back that we lost through colonialism and enslavement.
okay, if that is true, then the next thing I will also ask you would be, what is the prospect of blackology in the context of development, i.e., institutionalization, uh, scholastic spreading, scholastic displacing within the diaspora of the United States and also on the continent of Africa? What you think would be uh, the big foundation for us to do that? Are we waiting for your graduation first? Are we making a preparation to travel? Are we, personally, I think you and I are preparing to speak to participate in the African Studies program. And I believe those are some of the preparation stages. And we go to the African Studies program, and you express that. But my question is, what is the prospect for Blackology to be spread around the diaspora and also on the continent of Africa?
All right. First of all, I guess we'll have to, like Booker T. Washington say, we're gonna have to cast these buckets down right here first, and establish Blackology into the local public, private, charter HBCUs as a field of study, and work on the implementation of that within the next year to year and a half. At this stage of Blackology, right now we're primarily in the stage of going into public relations to go to conferences to spread the information to various conferences and establish a Blackology conference so that we can be able to gain the intellectual support that we need and the grassroots support we need to be able to build Blackology into the public-private charter situation. So now, our goal is now to do public relations first. We got to go public relations, get the information out there, get on some television shows, get on radio shows, continue to write books. We need to have our own Blackological literature that um, expresses Blackology. So that yeah, so that the concept of Blackology is maintained and promoted um, wholly, as a intellectual science. So, but primarily, right at this point, we're at the point of creating public relations for Blackology. And then the next step is the implementation into public-private charter schools. Um, um, Applying for grants so that we can, number one, we need to build us an institution so that we can, uh, teach and educate, the intellectual scholars on Blackology and disperse them into the public-private schools. That's the vision for Blackology, is to have a training or educational institution that educates them and then disperses them into public charter private schools as subcontracts.
Okay. And so you personally writing a proposal for your Blackological dissertation proposal. You are saying you are drafted, you are submitted, I believe. And what is the topic on your Blackological dissertation?
Okay, my dissertation topic is Blackology 1962 to 2005, a case study on the evolution of Black African intellectual cultural science in the diaspora of the United States.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Very strong and powerful. And I know it will win your dissertation defense. It will have to pass because I'm on the committee, and then your outside examiner. It will pass. It will pass with flying color, and I will be there that day. Okay, now what is the reception of Blackology by other forces out there? Because I have realized from all indication that you and I are going through trying time,
We are.
and not many people are receptive to the concept of Blackology. The study is dynamic, but people are not looking at us uh, inclusively to be people who are developing an eminent everyday science for people. What do you think we can overcome and carry on our work?
Okay, now to start out from the beginning, what you said, what is the reaction? Or,
Yeah, what is the reaction? How can we get through?
how to
Even based on our own family,
right.
our own children,
Yeah.
how can they follow us? How can they
Okay.
be receptive to us? How
Okay.
can they love this? Because I'm saying this because my daughter, I mean, necessarily can easily be won over when you educate them.
Right.
I say mine is easy to get my folks involved,
Okay.
but what is your strength in convincing your immediate family and the rest of the world? Because the kids go back to school and carry the messages.
Okay. All right. So
They're
now,
soldiers.
one way of being able to get the children involved and educate them is something that I have been doing myself, and that is have them when there's
Science
a
fair.
science fair or a Black History Month, have them to do that project on Black Island, because one of the problems with Black History Month is that they get the usual people all the time. And even when they try to not do the usual people, they still wind up doing something that has already been done before. And one of the relatively contemporary ideals in Black African culture is Blackology, along with Afrocentricity, African-centered education, Africology, and the like. And mostly what the children get is Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Martin Luther King. Those are not bad at all, but in Blackology, you get all of them, and you get them in the sense where um, their intellectual genius is wealth, and it's and it's a foundation, and it's something, it also encourages prosperity. It gives them something to really see them in that's significant for Black African people, other than just to see them, one Black historian. But in Blackology, we don't have history. We have Black story,
Yes.
or we have Black storological,
Yes.
or we have BlacStoriography,
Yes.
and then that's spelled BLAC capital STORY,
Okay.
or BLAC capital BLAC capital STORIOGAPHRY, ography. All
Okay.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you see, like ography.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so that is the from the struggle of Black African people, defining our story in a way that makes it authentic from our intelligence, from our knowledge, and so then it gives them another way to look at how we are evolved, as opposed to the traditional. Well, this is Black history. And in Black history, they don't really deal with, like, the term Negro for a lot. They just talk about Black history. So, and they need to know about, in Blackology, we go through, like, the chronology.
Yeah.
We go back to, you can go all the way back, to 10,000 BC. And you can, you can look at the chronology of, how Black people evolved.
I believe you put stuff together like that.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but
On that,
I think you put it together.
the last paper I did last semester was chapter one of the dissertation, and that was the chronology of the term Black.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So, but they need to see that, and they need to know about, like, in Blackology, we got words like negrological, and negrological means a time when Black people were called Negroes,
Yeah.
and they thought according to the Negro thinking, and the logic of the Negro was to convince white people that they were human and that they were intelligent, and they did everything that the white folks told them to do in order to prove to them that they were human and intelligent, and so that was Negrological.
You see, it brings another thought process in our research.
Yes,
because we're supposed to, okay, though chronological arrangement, we're supposed to be writing uh, quote reference to those periods.
Yes, we are.
So we can teach our people.
Absolutely.
We want to know the significance of calling people
Right.
Negro at that period.
Yes, yes, right.
Okay, colored people at this period.
Uh-huh.
Okay, uh, African people at this period.
Yeah.
Black people at this period.
Right.
You know, there have to be both. Black
Yeah.
you have to write both on the event.
We do.
So
We
that
do.
we teach our people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, mommy. How you doing?
Okay, all right.
You look like you would say something.
Yeah, all right. Everything all right? Oh. Oh, she couldn't cook in the rice. Yeah, she cooks the rice.
Okay, mommy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do that.
So now, and see, and we need to be able to show, our evolution, as a people, instead of showing, like what's going on right now only. Because when you show the children just what's going on right now, they think that, when you go back, they think 5 years ago was old, 10 years ago was even older. That's old stuff. And that doesn't teach them, traditional heritage. And so, that's absolutely necessary for them to see how we evolve. And the neurological thought wasn't bad for us. That's what we were evolutionally as people, coming out of enslavement on this continent, and and coming out of colonialism on Africa, and also in the Caribbean, and South America and the rest of the world. It shows where we were in our thinking. And when you look at the time span of the redevelopment era, because we're in the redevelopment era of Black African culture, which, based on psychological research, the redevelopment era begins in at the Haitian Revolution. 30 years before the Haitian Revolution was the Maroons.
Yeah, the Maroons.
The rebellion, the Maroons rebellion.
Yeah.
Is that the term, rebellion?
Yeah, the Maroons, yeah.
Rebellion, uprising.
Uprising,
And so,
revolt.
yeah, revolt. And so that Maroons ended the destruction of the Black civilization. They fought for the end of destruction. 30 years later, the Haitians fought for the redevelopment of the culture. And since the Haitian Revolution, we have been evolving to redevelop. And so we went through the stages of colored people, Negroes, black people, then African American. And, in Black African culture, everything is circular. So we're coming back to Black and African, but we're coming back to it with the intelligence of our research and study, and our intellectuals, with Black Africans being one word instead of a color, and being a land. It's coming into a people. Black African, meaning BLAC, capital AFRICA. Now we're making it intellectually ourselves, as opposed to continuing on with what we've been trained to do, and think Black African, Black being African, or Black BLACK with a slash, being African, or however the European has trained us to do it. Intellectual equality. It's also intellectual liberation. We need to be liberated intellectually as well. So now Blackology is going to give us that. So, that's what we are.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Yeah, that's fine. See, one thing I also want to point out, across, is that everything that is going in Africa, they don't always start from Africa. When it comes to even the term Africa,
Yes.
even the term revolution, and those things, they say the brothers, you could never remain on a colonial hegemony and develop anything progressive. You have to leave.
Yes. Yes.
Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Modibo Keita, Sekou Touré, Jomo Kenyatta, all of those brothers have to leave.
They left and then came back.
Yeah, they left. Like I left, I joined you.
Okay.
You see Savannah Olympier and the brother like Edmund Whitmer Blatting,
Yes.
all those people, they met up here. Now we're talking about the Pan African Union at that time
Okay.
in 1919, 1909. Okay, so while we are in school, one of the best times to put your talk together, hoping that you all take it back to your people.
Yes.
To have the OAU,
Yes, right.
Pan Africanism,
Yeah.
all of these organizations were founded
Right.
away from the ground
Mhm.
of the continent.
Yeah,
Because the condition
war
was
was going
conducive,
on.
yes.
It was that was the intellectual cultural war. What was going on,
Okay.
and you know, you couldn't go into the war zone to develop anything because in the war, the only thing in the war zone, the only thing going on is war. Take for instance this Iraqi situation right now. Any war, really, in the war zone, people are dying,
Mm-hmm.
and fighting is going on. The people who are strategizing the war, they ain't there at all. Bush and them is over here, and they strategizing is sending people over there. So, but it's significant to what you're saying about the founders of Black African independence had to leave out of the war zone in order to put together, some creative genius to take back to be able to bring about independence. Because there, the pressure was such that none of the people could even follow them or hear what they were saying because they was under such stress.
And African Americans in the diaspora play a very significant role in African liberation movements. These are things that people need to know about.
Yeah, that's a two-way street too.
People need to know about.
Yeah.
Need to know about. But then I want to know also as to what role did Africans play in the liberation of African people in the diaspora?
Okay, all right.
You see, that I have not seen the linkage.
Okay, all right. Okay, when the founders of independence came from Africa to here, they brought with them a way of thinking that black people had